What is up, everybody? It's time for another episode of Dreadful Talk. And no, look, this is not Zoom. This is not FaceTime. I got an in-person guest. My boy Chris Bamber here, owner of Raw Land Development. And surprise, surprise, we're going to be talking about raw land development. But before we get into that, this is episode 41, Dreadful Talk. This is a major milestone, first in-person guest, and super excited that this is this guy because, man, literally, I may not even still be in California or the Bay Area if it wasn't for this guy right here. Like, he helped me get on my feet. One of the first friends I made in the Bay Area, the best friend I made in the Bay Area, solid as they come. And now he's got this exciting new business. And like I said, I'm excited to have him join me. Like I said, one of my favorite. This is the first time we've seen each other since lockdown. So, like,
it's been a minute.
This is a real ass smile. Like, I miss my fucking friend. Like seriously, man. Like,
likewise.
Yeah, man.
Likewise.
You know, COVID's been rough. You know, it's been literally over a year. You know, we're both healthy and feeling good.
Feeling
and
great. Feeling
you know,
great.
I've been taking my vitamins, so you know, you can't live under a rock forever. You know, but you know, but hey, it's, you know, first in-person episode. I'm super excited. And to celebrate, you know, we're tracing some buffaloes. My man got him a nice cold Coors.
Staying hydrated.
Staying hydrated.
You know me?
And we are going to get this show on the road. So, like I said, Chris Bamber, owner of rawlanddevelopment.com.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a very interesting subject because it's something like whether you're sitting at a bar, you're sitting in a weed circle, somebody always brings up the topic of, you know, oh man, I want some land to pass down to my kids, or I want, or you know, the classic stoner, like, oh, let's get off the grid, man.
Exactly, right.
And like everybody kind of says these things kind of in passing, like probably not gonna follow through with it, and like, and I just want, and you're here to let us know, really, that it's like, hey, super achievable, super like realistic, and actually like a really good investment, and there's a lot of financial benefits, and like I said, we'll get into it all. But
definitely.
But yeah, man, how'd you get, I know the answer to this, but tell the people, how'd you get into the raw land development, brother?
Well, Dom knows my background. A lot of people don't, you know. I moved down here 5 years ago from Washington. Didn't have shit, man. Didn't have nothing going on. And I was fortunate enough to work with Dom for a while in a tech company. Then I left. I went to the restaurant industry, you know, tried my luck there. Then I ended up getting a job at a landfill, believe it or not. And at the landfill, I got introduced to tractors. And by tractors, I mean excavators, bulldozers, fucking ADTs, and all that shit. And I fell in love with it, honestly. I loved moving earth and changing the landscape.
And just as a friend, like, that's not just saying that because now he owns a business. Like, he really does mean this too. Like, when he first got a job at the landfill, I was like, bro, how much does that shit suck? And he was just like, man, I kind of like it, actually.
Yeah,
like,
weird enough. I mean, we went from being in this the tech company wearing flip-flops, not just on Friday, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Sweatpants, man. We were
drinks at lunch, eating sushi, loving our life. And then I went to a dump. I'm literally picking up plastic in a mountain at 6 in the morning with pigs chasing me. But you know what? You don't pick what you love what you pick. And it worked out well. So basically, I was in a position, I was like, man, I want to try to get a house out here. I just want to own something, you know?
Yeah. I think that's a feeling a lot of people our age go through. Like, so many people rent, like, they're just buying something just not even in the realm of possibility, especially out here in California. It's a little different where I'm from in Oklahoma, but out here in California, I mean, the thought of ownership, it's like, okay, money bags, like where's your monocle and fucking,
And most people are going to jump into buying a new car or something that's not going to gain any value.
Depreciating value.
Immediately.
Vocab words,
do that lot, right? So you're going to lose money. So what I did was I say, you know what, I got a little skill in a tractor. What if I get a piece of land? And I started looking, and I didn't think I could afford anything in the Bay Area. To be honest, I was looking at Clear Lake. I was looking at Shasta, cheaper. And I found 18 acres, 30 minutes from Morgan Hill for $50,000. And granted, at the time, I didn't have $1,000 in my bank account. I didn't, man. Dumb, I was fucking poor. All my money went to beer and whatever we did on the weekends, you feel me? But yeah, man, what I did is I focused on building my credit and got enough credit to take a personal loan out. And that's not through a bank, that's through a creditor, right?
Oh, that's an important distinction. I didn't know that.
It is, yeah. So on raw land, the bank's not going to finance you because they want a home. They
want something they can take back.
Exactly. So what I did is I met the realtor that was selling it, and I was like, this can't be real. 18 acres, 30 minutes from my house for $50,000, right? fell in love with it immediately. It was super rugged. There's trees. You're in the middle of nowhere.
It's on like the side of a mountain, right? Or a
Side
big
of a
hill,
mountain.
you know, in the
Yep.
South Bay, the line between big hill and small mountain kind of blurs, but...
Exactly. But me and my realtor, fortunately, we clicked right away. I mean, we were taking shots. And then I told him straight up, I was like, man, I don't have a lot of money at the time, you know, what can we do? He's like, can you get 10 grand? I'll make an offer to the owner, and we'll put fucking 20% down, which is 10 grand and 50,000, and we'll finance it for 10 years. And he got me the deal, man. Next thing I know, I'm signing papers, took the loan out, sent it to the owner, and I'm paying for the property. The thing was costing me $460 a month. That's it, to own 18 acres in the Bay Area.
That's literally less than you could lease like a used BMW for. Like,
My
seriously.
car right now is almost that.
Yeah.
Seriously. And
No,
it's,
seriously.
It's not a good investment. So I got lucky
Fuck.
on that, yeah. And it's all about, you know, networking, building relationships,
Yes.
and that realtor's got my back.
Yeah. That's what I'm learning too. I was talking to actually my realtor friend in Oklahoma about just kind of like some beginner steps to kind of head down that road. And
Exactly.
Apparently, yeah, he said the same thing. Just finding that right person that'll kind of vibe with you, work with you, you know.
Yeah.
And also, what he was telling me that a lot of people may not know is that essentially, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I'm kind of talking out of my ass, but this is what he told me, is realtors are essentially free to hire because they get paid on the seller.
Exactly, dude.
So-
It's really a buyer's market. So if you're buying a piece of land, you're Gucci. You're not paying shit. You're just paying the owner. The money's going to him. The seller, you're 100% right, is getting taxed. They're paying taxes. They're paying the realtor commissions. On raw land, it's typically 10%.
Oh.
On a home, it's 5%.
Yeah.
So the realtor there, he's happy to sell it. He'll work whatever deal you can. But, man, it's just mind-blowing, man. So basically got it. Didn't know what the heck to do at the time. But I rented an excavator. And, again, this is all on credit. I didn't have any cash in my pocket. I'm working, 40, 50 hours a week. I'm paying rent in the Bay Area. Everybody knows how that is. Dom knows how that is.
Woo!
I'm surprised you can afford Buffalo Trace, man.
Oh, I know. I had to take out a more talk. That's on credit too.
Yeah, that's on credit too. That's how it was, man. That's how it was. So, we got to this point, and I rented this excavator, and I just knocked out that hill, and I made enough area to put a trailer. And for the trailer, same thing. I went to the dealership. Man, I got this much money. I don't have a lot. I got decent credit. Got a brand new trailer. I said, put solar on that. Give me a big septic tank on that.
Shit.
Yeah. So we did that. I hauled that out there. We had a little deck we built. And, dude, the thing was money. It looked amazing, man.
Wow.
Oh, amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So like I said, I was there just kind of on the sidelines for this whole initial process. Like, he told me he bought this land, and I was just like that's dope, man. But like, what comes next? And he was like, man, whatever comes next is what comes next. But I got this land, and that's really what matters. And that's kind of oversimplifying it, but once you have that land, once you have something to call yours,
Yeah.
I mean, it's both literally and figuratively a foundation. Like, it's,
Seriously,
to
man.
build upon both literally and metaphorically. Like, you can, it's just that home base
Exactly.
that you can always come back to. Also, dude, a huge shout out on your domain, rawlanddevelopment.com. Like, perfect domain. Like, whenever I was looking it up, I was like, is this like a government website? This was like perfect. But man, like, also just quick shout out. We're kind of giving a little advice here. Is just, if you own a business and you think maybe a domain might be taken, or surely all the good domains are taken, like probably not. Like, I have no website live yet, but I own dreadfultalk.com.
Yes.
And I own beefyboysbreakdown.com.
Absolutely.
I was like, surely somebody out there. There's even another
Yeah.
podcast I think called Dreadful Talk. I was like, surely somebody bought that. But no, so just, you never know until you try. And also, even if like I'm not ready to launch a website, I snagged up those domains. Like, you got to get while the getting's good, So
First thing to do, I totally agree.
Yeah,
Get
like-
that domain.
yeah, probably even before your logo. Like,
And
seriously.
worst case scenario, a big company wants it and they cash you out.
Yes.
Seriously.
No, seriously,
Yeah.
it can be like a lottery ticket. Like,
Yeah.
even though you're like a crypto, like, you never know when that shit might skyrocket in value. Some tech company starts up with the same name and they want, or you never know. So buying domains, kind of a slept on little aspect there. But yeah, so you said you have a septic tank, you have solar power.
Yeah, based all off the trailer, right? So I was like, I want something that can live off grid. Because this property, the first one, had no water source except a creek down the hill. Hard to access.
Wow.
I made a little road with an excavator, it was good. And then the trailer
Trying to
had
get that
solar.
water to flow uphill is a major issue.
Yeah,
right?
so you can get a big pump and you can get a big tank and you can do that, no problem. But at first, I had minimal money, even credit. Credit was maxed out at this point, man. did the excavator and the trailer and stuff like that. So after that, I mean, we were just enjoying it as a weekend spot, to be honest, man. We were out there cooking, we're barbecuing. People are shooting guns and cutting trees 30 minutes from Morgan Hill. Yeah. Nobody out there has done that, right? So we got that going, and then my realtor, I invited him out to have some drinks one day, and he's like, man, you've totally changed this property. He's like, I could get you triple. And I was like, shut up, man. He's like, I give you triple. And everyone was upset. Don't sell it. We want a place to hang out. I'm like, dude, money talks.
Yeah, triple.
Rocks.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
So if you could tell me I could triple $10, I'd probably take you up on it.
Yeah, real talk. So what we did was I put it up for sale, and we got an immediate response. Because what it was is somebody could really come and live out there if they needed to, you know?
Well, the thing is, and I mean, it's no secret. Like, nobody's trying to put in that elbow grease.
No.
Nobody's trying to get their fingernails dirty.
They are not.
You know what I mean? I guess not nobody, because people like you exist. But the average people that have the money to buy land and, like, be property owners, typically, like, the Venn diagram of people that can afford land and people that, like, are willing to, like, work that land, it's like a very small overlap.
I would 100% agree, man. 100% agree. So we took some great photos. My realtor was super stoked. We put it up for...
You catfishing?
Yeah. You know, we've all been there. So we put it up for $185 grand, man.
What?
Yeah, $185,000.
More than triple.
More than triple, yeah. And we ended up... we had a lot of interest, but I ended up receiving a cash offer for about $140,000.
Ooh.
And I was in about 60. So it was life-changing, man. And this property, this is my first one. It closed about 6 weeks ago, man. I woke up with a lot of money in my bank account. It's life-changing, man.
Dude, that's like getting fucking drafted, bro. Seriously, you wake up with a whole lot more zeros one day.
Don't throw it away like an NFL player.
Yeah, seriously.
Because you need it to reinvest. And that's what I learned, man. You know, we did go to San Diego. We went and visit our boy Scott.
Shout out Scott. Yeah, we love you, Scott. Miss you, guys.
Love you, my guy. Christian Amoro.
Shout out Christian. Yeah, man. All guys we used to work with at this tech company, I'm telling you, we used to get wild. You know, we'll save some of those for the untold stories of the crypt. But yeah, we had some good times.
Yeah, that's the real dreadful podcast right there. But no, man, it was amazing, man. And then what happened was my realtor was like, you know what, you did a good job working on the land. Why don't you help develop these other ones that I got, and so they can resell for more. Damn. So yeah, we worked out a deal. You know, I refer him clients, he refers me clients, and shit, man, we got so many jobs right now. I'm overwhelmed.
Wow.
My business partner right now, she's in the car probably working off the Wi-Fi. I mean, we are bombarded right now.
Man, this is like literally like making me so happy to hear, man. As I said, man, people unfamiliar with Chris's background, like this ain't somebody who had nothing handed to him. This ain't somebody that took the easy path in life, you know. He fell down 3 times, get up 4, you know what I mean, type of story. And I think there's a lot to be learned from that. And there's a lot to be learned in kicking the tires and asking questions. And don't tell yourself no before somebody else tells you no.
Yeah.
Whether that's applying for a job, whether that's asking a hot chick out, whether that's, you know what I'm saying? Just
100%.
Taking a chance on something you never had no experience in. Like even that first tech job that he hooked me up with, like I could barely use a fucking typewriter. Like I was computer illiterate. And you know, you got to take some chances and find out. And just find out sometimes. Like I said, don't tell yourself no before somebody else can tell you no. Make somebody else tell you no.
Exactly. And knock on doors, because if you don't, no one's going to answer. And if you don't throw anything in the oven, you're never going to have anything to eat, man. Straight
the fuck up, man. Exactly. Or like, you know, and that's a great, you know, metaphor to look at it as. And so I feel like we've kind of got into it a little bit, but just to clear it up in case there's any confusion, what is like the textbook definition of raw land? Like, you know, that's kind of a very important distinction to make.
Yeah.
Because not all land is raw land. Even if there's no house on it, it still may not be raw land. What's that distinction that earns the label of raw land?
No, great question. So raw land's going to essentially be undeveloped.
Yes.
And undeveloped, it can have a water source. It might have power, but that's going to be rare. And if you're worried about sewage, you can build a septic. And I can put that in for you. Super simple, half a day. Not that expensive.
Wow.
Developed land, you're going to be having a house, a primary dwelling, right? In the Bay Area, that's pretty important. It's the good thing about a primary dwelling and developed land is you can get a loan through a bank. Loans through banks are typically, right now, they're under 3%. Really good. But you know what? You're going to need 20% down unless you go FHA. And still, you're looking at 50, 60K. And if you don't have 20% down, you're paying the PMI every month. You're getting murdered. If you buy a house out here right now and you don't have 20% down, you're paying more for that house than you would be if you rented that house.
And I mean, we're talking 20% of essentially $1 million here in the Bay Area.
Seriously.
Like, seriously, like for those that are unfamiliar, you know, $1 million in like where we're currently filming this from San Jose, California, and I'm essentially filming it from $1 million house. And this house literally, like in Oklahoma, would be like 120 grand. Like it's a 2 and 3 bedroom house, 1 bathroom in a mediocre neighborhood, like kind of shady. Like
mediocre.
Yeah, like pushing and
lock the door.
Yeah, no, seriously, and you know, better make sure your car door's locked. That's for damn sure. And we're that's why we're trying to explain the value of the raw land, because his land's about a 45-minute-ish drive, and And keep in mind, I mean, hell, I used to live 12 miles from my job, and it would take me an hour to get there with Bay Area traffic. So, so 45 minutes ain't that bad. And like, and like I said, he got it for $50,000. Like literally in Cali, $50,000. I mean, you'll get laughed. You won't even get your phone call answered if you have 50. Even if you have 50 grand cash.
Yeah.
Like you could have a duffel bag full of 50 grand, and then you won't find a realtor that will even take your call.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
You'll have a hard time probably getting a condo. You know what I mean. So that's why we're trying to. Like I said, I love to have fun on this podcast. I love to have some drinks, have some smokes, tell some dick jokes, but.
Couple dick jokes are good.
Couple dick jokes never hurt anybody. But what I'm saying is, you know, if there can be just like some knowledge, I feel like in society, and I'm not even trying to get too deep. Like, I'm not saying it's intentional or whatever. Just like certain knowledge isn't made available to certain people.
It's a fact.
It's a fact. And so, like, if I can use this platform as kind of like a conduit to just like let somebody know that like there may be other options out there.
Yeah.
And because you know, if you pay rent for 30 years. You know what you have after that 30 years? Dick. You have nothing.
Yeah, dick. And it's probably some shitty dick. I'll be straight up.
Yeah, man. And like, and then, but if you pay on a mortgage or you pay on some land for 30 years, guess what? You own that. Like, you own it. Your grandkids own that.
Yeah.
Their kids own that. I mean, as long, you know, you can pass it down. And, correct me if I'm pretty sure property goes towards your net worth, too.
It can, definitely, especially if you resell and stuff like that. It can be a great, especially if you're renting out, that's going to count as income and stuff like that. But, buying a house, cool. We'd all love one. Hey, I'd rather buy some fucking raw land, you know? And I just want it to seem possible to people to do that option, you know? Because it really is, man. Work on your credit a little bit. Talk to your family. Get a loan from them if they got the money. My family didn't. But, and get on the ball, man.
Yeah,
seriously.
man. And this man, he's also the one that told me about credit, too, because, and I'll, you know, just kind of personalize this for a second. You know, when you grow up, a lot of people out there grow up similar. You know, you grow up, you know, no silver spoon. You might grow up in the struggle, whatever the case may be. Credit is like essentially like a cuss word. Like, you look at credit like, oh, that's bill collectors calling. Yeah. That's bad news. Like, credit is bad news. It is so funny because if you ever go out to eat with dinner with a rich person, like, people with cash for days and days and days. You know what they gonna pay for that dinner with?
They're gonna throw that credit
card down every fucking time, man.
Every fucking time.
And then you start hanging out with people that are financially literate and you know, maybe done well for themselves. And they're all about credit.
Seriously.
And so learning how to use your credit as an asset, you know, like I said, this man was able to buy land with essentially nothing but his dick in his hand. Exactly. Based off having good credit. And like I said, it's just simple. Like I started off with a little like $300 limit credit card.
Same. That's the way to do it. It's probably a secured card, right?
Actually, this one wasn't. But
you got your first one secured.
Yeah, I got it. I'm moving up in the world, baby.
Found that.
But yeah, or if you say you have dog shit credit, you can invest in yourself essentially. You can go to your bank and they'll give you a credit card. You just got to put up essentially collateral. Yeah. Like you can have a $500 limit if you give them $500. So it's kind of not really credit, but it is. It builds your credit. They report to the credit bureau. And after 6 months of that, you'll have the real deal. Yeah. And so, just like I said, I want people that maybe grew up less advantaged or whatever to just not, you don't hear the word credit and you know, be like a deer, your ears go up, and be like, that's bad. That's a danger word. Like,
man, it intimidated me at first. I didn't get my first credit card until I was 25. I didn't understand how it worked, but you know, shout out. I'm not getting paid off this. Credit Karma really helped me out. You Credit Karma too? Credit Session?
we literally used to get like drunk and like get on Credit Karma. Like that was like what we would do as like our bro sessions.
Fuck
Like
comparing dicks, we're gonna compare credit score,
we can
right?
this way. You told me like steps I could take, and I may have taken my sweet ass time on taking those steps, but I've taken them. Like I've done all those things that we used to talk about doing. And
It's a marathon, it ain't a race.
it's a marathon, not a race. And also that goes to say, man, the type of people that you're hanging out with, because
Seriously.
like because everybody likes to like cast the blame. Oh, all you do is drink and smoke with them. But hell, we would drink, like I said, and literally talk about credit and finance and like just you can level up with people. You don't have to necessarily be a choir boy or you know be you know a Mormon to make progress in life. Like you can have a good time. Like I'm so tired of like giving that binary. It's like, oh, successful people don't party or drink, and it's like you really can kind of have your cake and eat it too. Just don't be a dumbass.
We're living proof of that. We work hard and we play harder, man. I promise you, I play hard. You know, I'm here every night. We're partying fucking hard right now.
We're partying right now and being productive and networking.
Plus, this is a social thing. Just seeing you, I mean, it's a blessing in itself.
Oh, this is so much fun, man.
Super happy, bro.
So I'm just gonna throw out a round number, kind of give an example. And I said we don't have to bust out any chalkboards or anything, but just kind of give a ballpark answer if you can. So say $100,000 piece of land was developed, like not raw. It was developed. It pretty much ready to have a house put on it. Yeah. That cost $100,000. Yeah. Like I said, once again, using round, easy numbers, let's just say it's like 10 acres, whatever. Yeah. If that same land was undeveloped, how much cheaper if it was raw? Sorry, excuse me. Raw.
Raw, for sure.
If that $100,000 piece of developed land was raw, how much cheaper? What percentage? Like what are we talking here? Just ballpark figure. Like how much cheaper is the raw land?
No, that's a great question. Let me give you an example of a property. We actually put in an offer last night, and we're super excited about this one. We really hope it pulls through. Basically, when you put in an offer, you know your realtor's going to draft up an offer. We're going to give you this much down, this year term, this annual APR. You know, annual percentage rate. I also call it annual percentage rape. You feel me? But you know, you're going to pay them. But this property we valued at, so we put in an offer on a 40-acre parcel, 30 minutes from my house. We put in an offer of $120,000, 10-year term, 5% APR. And we're going to offer them 25% down. We're going to start at that. Always start low. And that comes out to 30 grand down. I wouldn't have 30 grand if I didn't just flip that property, to be straight up with you, man.
But reinvesting his profits. Did he go buy a fucking dumbass car or a stupid ass condo, or did he just invest back into his business?
I want it again. I want that feeling when I woke up and I had that money. I want it again, man. And I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get it again. I'm fortunate. I got good people in my life. I got a great partner. Whatever she's doing right now. Shout out to Angie Mora. Love you. No, so if it was developed, if it was in town, that's $1 million property, right?
Woo! Yeah, you hear that word, the M.
The M, dropping
big
M's. Yeah, we're dropping M's. This one, we're going to be simple. So the first thing you look at when you look at a property is location. How far is it from you? Don't go more than an hour. Yeah. Because honestly, if you're working a job like most people, you're going to have to go see your property. You're going to have to check on your investment, right? Yeah. And you're going to have to get out there on your weekdays, not just fucking weekends. You're going to have to work. I mean, I've had poison oak 12 times last year. And man, it was horrible, bro. I don't know if I told you, man. I mean, head to toe to fucking whatever.
You're already halfway pink most of the time anyway.
Oh, bro, I was fishing in the bay, so I'm a little sunburnt. But no, seriously, man, it's hard work, but God, it just does pay off, you know.
Yeah, paid off, and it doesn't pay somebody else off. It pays you off. You're not making a boss rich. Seriously. You're not making a CEO rich. Exactly. You're not making the owner of a company rich.
100%.
You are directly. It's like you get out what you put in, right? You get out more than you put in. Essentially,
literally. No, seriously, literally. You could get that, resell it, but if you sit there and do what you need to do, you're gonna make a shit ton of money.
So if you're willing to put in a little bit of elbow grease, a lot of elbow grease, and you know you can get essentially $1 million property for 120 grand. You know, and really only a fraction of that down. Yeah. So you see how very quickly you can essentially turn what? You say 30 grand into $1 million?
If you do it right.
Obviously, no, that's kind of an exaggeration and oversimplification, but not too far off.
No.
Not too far off. And that's exactly why I wanted to have this man come and explain this to you guys. So I'm getting pumped, man, because I'm not there yet, but I'm to the point where
Well, you
pretty
were there.
soon.
We will get you there.
Yeah, pretty soon I can start, looking at some of this myself. So
whatever you need, man. Let's do it, man.
Yeah.
You got what it takes. And this guy's a hard worker. I worked with him in the office, and he was a grinder, man. Like he said, when he came in, he didn't have the best customer service skills, but he was no fucking quitter. I think his first day he cussed out a customer, and that's why I kind of like him even more than I fucking like myself. But he had fucking balls, man. He didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, man. That's something. You gotta have some stones, man. You gotta have some stones.
And the customer always ain't right, man.
Fuck all that, man. Seriously, man. I mean, probably never get hired in customer service again, but that's okay.
And we don't want it.
Yeah, we don't want it. We don't want it, man.
Yeah.
But all right, so kind of a tongue-in-cheek question, but seriously, most people, myself included, I want to find an apartment, a little house to rent. I get on Zillow, I get on Facebook Marketplace.
Great question, yeah.
Where do you find raw land? Is there like a own separate website? You just gotta go through the realtors? Like where do you find raw land?
So bringing up Zillow, you can find undeveloped raw land on Zillow, but the realtor, more times or not, is just gonna get some shit they got passed, right? They're selling houses, they don't know anything about it. You call them and say, hey, what's this property zoned for? And if you're buying raw land, figuring out zoning, oh my god.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that.
It sucks, but you have to figure it out. You have to understand what you can do with that piece of land, even if you're doing shit unpermitted, which half the time I do. Fuck a permit. I already pay taxes. Fuck them. But no. So you can find some on Zillow, dude. We found this one the other day, man. It slipped through my fingers. I couldn't believe it. Not even gonna talk about it because I might have a tear in my eye. But found some on Zillow. But what I recommend is you can hit me up on my website. Hit up Dom.
Which is rawlanddevelopment.com. As simple as it gets. Good luck for getting that. Fucking domain of the year.
Yeah, no. So you hit us up and I'll refer you to my realtor, and all he does is raw land. And I'm talking about raw land on this side of the mountain. And you're not in the house, so this side is west. So there's a whole mountain ridge out there. There's a ton of properties out there. I mean, we're about to get maybe 40 acres for 120 grand, man.
And that's crazy. And that's in California. It's
California.
All I can think about is what I can get on the Nevada side of the border for that same price.
No,
or
you're thinking about quad riding them a property, man, and your property too.
Yeah, man. I don't know. So it opens doors. Like I said, so many. I'm real big on the whole get it out of the mud. Nothing to something, ending cycles of generational poverty. That's what I like. If I ever, have the resources, that's going to be my cause in life. And kind of the whole teaching a man to fish as opposed to giving a man a fish, know, because there's just so, like I said, knowledge that is some of the stuff we're saying, if you come from a landowning family, that shit, you'd be like, duh. But
I've been doing this. I know taxes.
But if you come from a single mom household or just inner city or wherever the case may be, whatever the case may be, sometimes you just may not even know these are options. And I really just want to let you know that it is an option. So, also something that I've always been super curious about is mineral rights.
Mineral rights, okay.
Also another big thing, if you ever seen the Beverly Hillbillies, one of the old school shows, end up hitting some oil, then they strike it rich. But what most people don't know is even in that perfect Beverly Hillbillies scenario, most people that own land, even if you shot up oil out of there, you want to own that oil. If you don't own the mineral right. That's why I wanted to talk about this. You know more than me, so just enlighten me.
Very true. That's something. So when you first get looking at a property, you're going to get a preliminary report, they call it, right?
Okay.
It's going to send you every information on that piece of property from the county. And it's going to have mineral rights. We're talking about oil. We're talking about natural gas and gold.
Gold, yeah.
Maybe. Man, when I was digging that excavator, I swear to God, I was hoping I was going to hit some gold. I didn't.
We're in the California hills, not far from the old 49er hills.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's really not out of the realm of possibility. But.
No, seriously, it can be. So every property is going to be different mineral rights.
Yeah.
A lot of them. My last one, I think I had 1/16th right to any gold, any oil. Oil, you're going to have to, you're fucked. If they're going to get a company out there, they're going to know. If you find gold, you find gold, right?
Yeah.
But no, so yeah, that's a great question. And dude, there's people that are making a shit ton of money off oil, obviously. If you hit oil, you're good. But finding oil, you'd have to have a drill, you have to have them go scan stuff like that.
Yeah. It's kind of a long shot. I just wanted to let people know if you are going to buy property, and I'm not even saying you have to own the mineral rights, but at least ask. A lot of people, I feel like you may end up buying some land, not even knowing, You know, I mean,
Seriously.
Yeah, so I just wanted the people just to be aware of that term mineral right. You can own the ground, but not what's beneath the ground. So you're saying like 1/16, is that pretty like normal? Is that pretty average, or like is it just kind of vary by property?
It does vary by property and county, and I'm not sure how it works. I mean, the deed on our property was like from the 1800s. I mean, you get information that's so old.
That's cool.
It's insane, you know, because the one thing about land is they only make so much of it, right?
Yeah.
So get your portion, and hopefully you got some good mineral rights just in case.
Yeah, just in case. Or like something else people may not know. I don't even know if I ever told you this story. I knew some people back in Oklahoma. I don't even need to say their names, but they had a bunch of land, and they didn't actually own the mineral rights. However, they ended up finding natural gas on the property. I forget exactly how they found out, but quite a bit of natural gas on the property. And even though they didn't own the mineral rights, they got paid, I think, 20 grand a month per machine.
Wow.
By the natural gas company for like noise, just putting up with it, the eyesore, the noise, all of it, just for allowing them. They were making 40 grand a month, like I said, without owning the mineral rights, just for like essentially allowing the companies to drill and stuff for natural gas. So like that's another possibility, kind of a long shot, but I mean fucking I mean 40 grand a month.
You got a better chance of hitting that than you do a lottery ticket. And a lot of people, that's their retirement plan. Hate to say it, hate to admit it. A lot of you guys are buying fucking scratch tickets. Good luck with that.
Yeah, no.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, the only thing scratch tickets is good for is weekend beer money. You know, you shouldn't be banking on that shit.
And an excuse to go to the liquor store.
Facts. All right. So, next question for you, brother, is say, all right, you bought the raw land. Like all the realtor papers are signed, you own it.
It's us.
Step number one, when you're drawing out the plan, step number one, like what do you do with raw land? I guess you can actually. I wrote down what's step one. What's step 1, 2, 3? Like what are some of the first things you gotta do?
Let's get into it. So every piece of raw land has its own unique possibility, right? This one might be good for a grower, and growing's huge out in this area. We got good soil, we got great sun.
We ain't talking about growing corn, people.
No, we don't eat corn. We don't grow corn. Fucking no. So this might be good for a grow op, right? It's got the good sun, the DEA doesn't flower too much, whatever, you know. So for that property, we're gonna open up the property. We're gonna fucking work on the road so it's nice and smooth, and you need a water source. My last one, not the best for growing, not a ton of flat acreage, but we're gonna smooth out the road. We're gonna open up the pad. We're gonna get livable, everything you need to live. Yes. And another one, it's pretty much between that. You either want to live there, or you can have like a weekend property, and some are just literally sanctuaries, man. I'm helping do a job for a guy right now. He's gonna make it a Vietnam or not a police and veteran sanctuary. Oh wow! So he's doing a butterfly garden. So I had an excavator out there. We're building up an area for him. I mean, this guy's got crazy ideas.
For sure. That's all good stuff. I'm gonna ask a little bit more specific though. Like what? So like, are we talking about like making things level, clearing out trees? I mean, all of the above. But like, you get the land. Yeah. And like obviously, so let's just give a more specific example. Say you got some land. Somebody, not for a grow up, just like a family house. Like you're trying to develop it up for like a family house and flip it to somebody trying to build a house there or whatever the case may be. Which is a good strategy if you're trying to flip it. And and so like say, not relatively flat, maybe a few areas, maybe like a stream running through it. So like what are like the like are you just trying to make a level area to lay the foundation for the house? Is it like getting a bulldozer and making it level? Is it building a long driveway up? Like what is like some of the...
So if you're looking at building a house for a family, right? First thing, always tackle the road, man. Smooth out that road, because on my SUV right now, I've been through brand new suspension twice in the last 16 months. I swear to God, I'm sick of taking that fucking thing.
On the Cho?
On the Infinity, man. I don't know why I roll fucking Infinity to the property. It's whatever. That thing is busted, man. I think I busted it again last night, man. We got locked into some property.
So you're gonna save yourself vehicle repairs by doing the road first, like legit,
time.
like
it's gonna pay for itself. And then if you're looking for a house, you gotta focus on utilities, right? A lot of these properties that I'm referring to, that I'm buying and reselling, they're too far out for sewage to go back to the county. So you're gonna do a septic tank.
Yeah.
And like I said, my company, We'll do a septic tank. You know, it's not that expensive.
I grew up using a septic tank. Like people like where I'm from in Oklahoma, septic tank very common. Like you know, out here in California, the Bay Area, city slicker, it may seem kind of weird. You throw some fucking Rid-X powder in your toilet, fucking couple
Straight
times
up.
a year, you're good to go. I mean, it's no different, really. I mean,
No, straight up. So once that's handled, then let's look at energy. What are we gonna do for energy? Some of the properties they have a power line close by, right? And you can pay PG&E, and they charge by, I believe it's footage and yardage for how much it takes
to come burn down your property.
Well, that too, those fuckers. Well, how's your power bill? Mine was $250 last month. Cocksuckers.
Oh man.
Oh, brutal, man. But so you can get a power line out there if it's not too far from the grid. If it's off grid, easy, man. We'll build you a little structure. We'll throw batteries, solar panels. We can get you some Tesla shit.
And then like the state of California like compensates you if you use solar too, right? And you can like even sell your excess energy back to the or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of possibilities with solar, and like the obvious fact that it's way better for like the environment than you know burning coal and things of that nature.
No, seriously. And then the third thing is water, and water's huge, man.
Yeah.
Water's huge. So if you can't drill a well, you can have a company come out. And you're honestly gonna be looking at 20 to 30 grand cash. There's no financing through this shit for them, but they're gonna drill a hole and try to find an underground spring.
And that includes. Does that money include them like finding the well and drilling for it, or is that like two separate?
Dom, I knew a guy that couldn't hit water, and he spent almost $100,000.
So you're paying for them to try. You're not guaranteed anything for your money.
Exactly.
That's tough.
It's a little sketchy, man. But normally you can look at the properties around you. You'll see above ground springs or wells, and you have a better chance. If not, don't spend that money. Go get yourself a fucking $500 water tank. Call a company. They'll come deliver you water every month. And you have a pump, and you just pump it. I recommend for most of these properties getting a nice trailer or a tiny home. Tiny homes are great. You can have a few tiny homes, right? And it's better than building a house, because building a legitimate house, you're going to have to deal with the county and permits. And permits, my friend, are brutal. That is ridiculous.
Really? Man. Just like, so you have to pay for like each permit?
Each permit, man.
Like
just the process, man. I knew a guy that paid almost $5,000 to permit a fence. I mean, you're talking real money. It's going back to the government.
It's kind of the age-old question of like, why do I have to pay the government to build on something that I already paid to own?
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, sometimes people try to make that argument for like property taxes and stuff, and it's like I can kind of see the idea behind property taxes, but permits, like if I want to fucking remodel my bathroom, I got to ask your permission. The last time I checked, I was a grown man that was like paying for it myself. Like,
absolutely
it
ridiculous.
Seems pretty. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. So what I recommend is, honestly, to be straight up, the majority of the jobs we do are unpermitted. So if you don't move too much soil and you don't do too much, you don't cause any earthquakes, you're going to be fine. Always keep a good relationship with your neighbors. The first property I bought, the neighbor was like...
I remember you told me this story. But get into it. Tell me about the neighbor. He was a little skeptical at first.
Man, he's like, I'm not letting that guy use my road to get to his property. And I was like, well, you know, to be honest with you, I have a legal document saying I can. I have a legal easement access. But you know what? We're both in Morgan Hill. Let's go have a drink. I got this guy shit-faced. I spent like $200 on whiskey. And that wasn't Buffalo Trace. I'm talking some shit. And got him shit-faced. And at the end of the day, he was like, you can do what the fuck you want.
I gotta tell you, man, if there's anything that I've learned from this motherfucker right here, is take a motherfucker out for a drink.
Straight up.
Straight up. I'll tell a little personal story real quick about kind of like, kind of the beginning of our friendship is just how he called me up one day and was like, hey, bro, like, come meet me for a beer. Just like on some friendship. We hadn't even been friends that long at a point. He kind of got this guy, he's a cool guy, reached out to me. And he's like, come have a beer. And I was all down in the dumps, beating myself up. I had just been essentially fired that day from my shitty-ass retail job. And I was like, fuck, man, like, I'm fucked, man. Like, I don't really want to go drink beer. Like, I got to move back to Oklahoma. Like, I was all fucking, tearing my beer, but without even the beer. And he was trying to give me a beer to cry in. And I was like, no, man, I'm not in the mood. And he was like, bro, if you fucking come have a beer with me, you'll have a job on Monday.
Yes. Yeah, 100%.
And it's so funny how our friendship started that way. The story he just told about his neighbor, the landowner, it's like, man, but it's not so much the alcohol, it's the conversation, right? It's the looking a man in his eye. Yeah. It's the, just... It's funny because actually last week in my podcast I had like a sidekick on and we were talking about like I
gotta catch up on that one.
Yeah, man. We're talking like vibes and just intuitions and all that shit and and like I said, as far out as like the word psychic may sound to some people, myself included, but like vibes and intuitions, that sounds completely normal. That's partly what I talked about her with. I said all the same stuff to her, so I'm not like being fake. But like what I'm saying is like vibes and intuitions, we all acknowledge like that's like a very real thing, right?
100%.
Like we all have experienced something. Oh, we get a
Energy,
bad feeling from this guy. We get a good feeling from this guy.
Seriously.
And like I said, but if you never just sit down with that person, whether it be coffee or alcohol, whatever the case may be, different strokes for different folks. But like just the power of conversation, the power of looking somebody in their eye, shaking their hand. I mean, it sounds old school. So I feel like it's like Hank Hill right now. But like, it's something that is being lost with, I'll even say my generation, the future generation, the youth. Like, 100%. Just that old-fashioned look a man in his eye, shake his hand, maybe have a beer, maybe have a coffee, whatever the case may be. Yeah. And kind of cutting through the bullshit. Yeah. Everything wants to be like DMs and social media. And there's just something to sitting down with somebody, reading their energy, having a conversation, and it can lead to glorious things. And just I said it earlier in the podcast, I'm going to say it again. Don't tell yourself no.
No.
Make somebody tell you no.
Yeah. And then,
not talking about sexually, you Me Tooers out there, but
David Dobrik, whatever you got going on, man, you fucked up.
We're talking about business wise, job wise. Like just like I said, don't tell yourself no. Like, that'll never happen for me. Now if somebody tells you no, okay, that's fine. Keep it pushing. What's plan B? You got to pivot, adjust on the fly, but make somebody tell you no. Like I said, whether that be applying for a job, whether that be applying for a loan, applying for a credit card. My first credit card, I applied for. Yeah. I literally was like, I'm not gonna get approved, and I ended up getting approved for less than I wanted, but I got a credit card.
Exactly.
And so, like I said, it's kind of the whole shoot for the stars, land on the moon thing. You never know until you ask. Exactly. And you don't want to essentially cock block yourself, right? Like you gotta at least give yourself a chance. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, or you'll never hit a ball if you don't swing at it. Whatever sports analogy you want to insert, man.
Get your foot in the door and then you bust that shit open. That's step number 2. But no, 100%, dude. Investing in relationships and people is as important, if not more important, than investing in land. I mean, I couldn't do this without the people I do it with, man.
Yeah, man. And you hear people all the time, whether it be behind the music or different podcasts, documentaries, whatever the case may be. Is I had all the money in the world, but I still wasn't fulfilled because I didn't do it with the right people, or I went about it the wrong way. And you hear those stories all the time about.
Straight up, man.
It's kind of about how you do it and who you do it with, as opposed to just everybody's so focused on that end result. And at the end of the day, there's a bottom line that needs to be met. But I feel you can kind of have your cake and eat it too. For sure.
You want to go up. You want to be on the elevator by yourself or with some motherfuckers you love, man. I love this guy. We're doing it. Love my business partner, Angie. Great. Yeah. My realtor. Amazing. My family, amazing.
What I think I might got the answer if you talked about getting all that poison oak. But what's like the worst part? What's like the part that even though it's gonna make you money, you just fucking hate every time and just it ain't all peaches and cream. You know what I'm saying? Like that just realistically, like what are some of the downsides to developing the raw land?
Downsides is sometimes it's like owning a boat. It's like. Yeah, it's cool to have a boat. Everybody wants to come, right? Everyone wants to be on the boat. But you're paying for it. You're cleaning it. You're dealing with all that shit.
Paying the docket.
That's number 1 sometimes, man. I would cook, for everyone. I'd host everyone. At the end of the day, they're out of there. And I'm just like, shit, man, I got a shit ton of shit to clean,
Yeah.
But, whatever. That's part of having good company. Number 2, poison oak. I rank poison oak number 2 for sure. That shit was brutal, bro. I had to shot my ass just to finish a job. Steroids.
So, would you, be wearing shorts and shit or walking through it? Or, how are you getting all this poison oak?
Nah, man,
rolling around naked in it? What's going on here?
I had so much on the last property, my boy was immune to it. And some branch hit his eye, and we woke up in his motherfucking eye. It was swolled up, man. It was pretty bad, dude. And I had it. I was going on a vacation one time, and it flared up. And I was trying to get a doctor visit there, and they're like, no way. No, so that's number 2 for sure. Number 3, man, I'll be honest, there isn't a number 3, man.
Number 3?
Maybe maxing out on time, At the time, I was working full time. It's tough, you know. If you own a lot of land, you have a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
Just time management, you know.
No, and I've seen firsthand, like, I don't know if you guys ever seen those, like, weird shows that come on, like, I don't know if it's Discovery Channel or whatever the fuck, but, like, when nature, like, they'll, like, simulate, like, if no people lived in L.A. for a year, and, like, nature overtakes it. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Which would be great. I love L.A., but fuck.
I watch a lot of nerdy shit like that, but what I'm saying is I've essentially experienced that. So, like, when I was real little, I lived on a little bit of land right outside of Wynnewood, Oklahoma, like where Tiger King was filmed. Out there in the sticks. And I grew up on, I'm talking real young, 4, 5, 6 years old. And my dad was like an over the road trucker. So, like, he would be gone, like 2 weeks at a time. I mean, and so needless to say, nobody was taking care of the property.
Yeah.
And essentially what happened to the property is like that example I was saying, like when
it went back to nature.
It went back to nature, bro. Like the grass overtook the fences, like to the point where like you may not think like grass and shit can like bend metal. Like, it'll fuck your fences
it's
all.
The most
like
powerful force in the world.
Nature, like it will overtake, and so like what he's saying, like I've experienced the flip side. I've lived on land that nobody was taking care of. I mean, it's a nightmare. I mean, it
never ends, man. It never ends. But God's rewarding.
And then so like say somebody buys some land. Well, can anybody just rent a bulldozer? Is this something I'm about to do you need like a license? Like, can I go rent a bulldozer right now?
I mean, Dom, you could, because you look legit. But a lot of people can't, man. Sometimes you need a business account. We just opened one with Cresco. Cresco is a good-sized company.
Okay.
You need like an LLC or a sole proprietorship, stuff like that. Home Depot, they don't have a bulldozer, but they have a mini excavator.
Like a Bobcat little thing?
Yeah, and it's a good machine. I've done a shit ton with a mini excavator, and you can rent it. They'll drop it off, and you can get out there and you can play with it. I recommend you hire me to do it, straight up. Yeah, and I'll teach you how to do it. I've taught multiple people how to drive it, and I mean, you'll never regret it. It's fun, man. I mean,
it's like a job skill, too.
We move mountains, man. Seriously, man. And,
that's crazy.
It's fun, man. But no, equipment, is a big deal, and it's expensive. I'm going to be straight up with you, man. I mean, the mini excavator you're looking at $700 a day, and that's not even paying me to rent it. I mean, operate it. You know, if you're
but that's what I was about to say. As it's like if $700 a day, I'm not trying to calculate you, but I'm just saying like for the independent person out there or somebody out of state, like a lot of people watching this are in Oklahoma, probably somebody that can't hire your services. But like if you can't hire my man here, if you were to do it yourself, you know that is an option.
Man, YouTube it. Seriously, YouTube it. There's some good people out there that are doing some good shit, and make your I mean, my first time I rented one, man, I was like, shit, I gotta pay it was $1,200 for 2 days, and I worked 14 16 hours on it. I worked all fucking night. I mean, thank God the beer for that one. I was out there till 4 in the morning. I slept in my truck.
That's a long day.
Woke up and went back to work, man, because you can't waste money, you know.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to. Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point. What about you said you had people shooting guns out on your property? What
big time, man. And
do you ever had like a game warden come out, like checking like anything like that?
No, it would have been his life at risk on that point, man, because we were pretty lit. But no, it's a good question. So most of the properties are extremely private, man. And you know, to bring people from Morgan Hill, San Jose that come out there, they've never even used a chainsaw. That's how I was. I YouTubed how to use a chainsaw, cut some trees down. But me and you, we have some backgrounds, some firearms.
Yeah.
Whatever. But no, to have somebody chop down a tree in one day and shoot a gun for the first time, it's pretty exciting for me.
Yeah, and see, and I gotta be real, man. See, like that's how I grew up.
Yeah.
Like literally, my first job ever, the first thing I ever got paid for in my life was chopping down like storm debris trees.
There we go.
And I was like 16.
Yeah.
And like and growing up shooting guns and all that shit. And I mean, I've absolutely loved my like journey to the big city, and I mean, you know, I've lived in San Jose for going on 5 years now, man. It's, you know, a city of 1 million people.
Seriously,
and
seriously,
I've really enjoyed it, but I do miss some of that, the way I grew up. You know, kind of that a little bit more of that slower pace, like that country, because people hear country. And there's all these, like, negative connotations, kind of rightfully so, but it's not always true. Like, you know, like, people hear country and they think of, like, you know, racism and fucking rednecks.
Rednecks.
But, like, I'll tell you a little story about something I experienced. You know, there's towns in, like, southern Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That are, like, they're all black towns. Going back to, like, the segregation. Like, they were founded by, like, black people. They're all black towns, like, going back to the segregation days. But they're just out in the sticks, so it never really changed.
Exactly.
Like, these all black country ass communities, those all black rodeos, and all black. And I used to have a friend. Shout out Tez. Shout out, what up, Tez? Martez Harrison. His dad and grandpa, his family was from that part of the state, and we would go down there on weekends, and we would ride horses and four-wheelers and shoot guns and all that shit. And it's just to say, man, and I'm kind of specifically talking to my fellow people of color out there. It's like, don't let that shit scare you away from buying some land or living there, or you know, you may end up fucking love riding horses or shooting guns or some of those things that, especially in a place like the Bay Area, super woke, super liberal, like those things are kind of frowned upon. Yeah. And I'm just saying that like you know, don't knock it till you try it, essentially. And like I said, I've been to all black rodeos and shit. So like when you've experienced shit like that, it changes like your perception. Like that shit is for everybody. Like you can be the most hood motherfucker in Oakland and still go buy some fucking land, you know? Like, you can... like
at that point, at least you know how to use a gun.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, you know, I feel like I said, once again, circling back to the central theme of this episode, didn't even plan this, but it kind of just turned out to be the central theme. Don't tell yourself no.
No.
If that reason is race or you're a city slicker, like, just don't tell yourself no. Like, you may end up liking that shit, you know?
100%, man. I never owned a 4-wheel drive truck in my life, and now we got 3 right now. I mean, fuck, you never know. Got a couple chainsaws, never know how to use one, never know how to operate it.
Yeah, man, and you got a whole career, business, I mean...
everything, man.
That's amazing.
Thank God, I mean, you know, and thank hard work and building relationships.
Yeah, thank hard work. Like, you did it, dude. Yeah. Like, you did it. Like, probably when a lot of people would have told you not to.
I was telling myself
like maxing out, like, you took a risk, dog. Like, maxing out your credit on some land that you couldn't take a shit on. No. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
100%, man.
And like I said, not every success story is the NFL draft or the fucking, you know, making it big and famous or even being a famous podcaster. There's motherfuckers like this that make it happen for themselves, get it out the mud, and make turn nothing to something, man. And
thank you, man.
My favorite type of people. I'm so happy, man.
Likewise, man. I love what you're doing. We both took a totally different avenue than where we're at this off-road company. Yeah, we did have a good time.
We did,
but it wasn't for us, man. We took some skill. And we went with it, you know? We did our own fucking thing.
Yeah, man, exactly. Exactly. You gotta sometimes take a risk, try something new. You can't, like if you shoot a basketball, it's either gonna go in or it's not. Yeah. But it's like, you gotta at least shoot.
Yeah, except that last match, who was that? Was that Quavo who was shooting like shit, or was that Little Baby?
Little Baby.
Don't shoot like Little Baby.
Don't shoot like Little Baby. Yeah, stick to the auto-tune rap, Little Baby.
Man, just keep doing your thing, man.
But man, you know what? That's about all I have for you, my guy. This has been fucking so good catching up with you. Check out rawlanddevelopment.com, and especially if you're anywhere in the Northern California area. I mean, my guy can legit be an asset for you and and you guys can make some money together. And then, you know, even if you're out of state, my Oklahoma people out there, you know, happen to be watching this from somewhere else, you know, still take something from this. Like I said, like he said, the down payment on raw land is way less compared to buying a house. Yeah. Or the, you know, this thing, it's way cheaper. Exactly. This may be like I said, there may be somebody out there right now who, going back 3-4 generations, you've been renters.
Seriously, the worst thing in the world.
You've been renters. There's generational poverty. No inheritance. Nothing's getting passed down the family line. There's a lot of people out there. There's more people out there like that than people out there not like that. And you can pass something along your family line. Like you can own, like I said, even if it's a trailer, guess what? If it's a trailer and you're worried about like not looking like fancy or whatever, guess what? You own everything around that trailer too.
You do.
Don't let anybody that owns a fucking, you know, 3-bedroom brick house with like 6 feet of yard, you know, they can't even play catch in their backyard, try to shit on you because you live in a trailer when you have 15, 20 acres around that trailer.
You know.
And so don't think that you gotta have like, you know, the classic, you know, addition, like neighborhood with a name. That's not the only definition of success.
No, it's not, man.
And this is actually catching on with like not just people trying to get out of the mud. Like I don't know if you've kept up with it. Rick Ross essentially did this. Rick Ross, have you seen his estate out in Georgia?
I have not.
Or anything online about it?
I'm
Rick Ross,
curious.
big, Wingstop investor, rapper.
Lemon pepper.
Lemon Pepper, Fat Boy needed 10-piece. Literally at Wingstop last night. No bullshit.
Shout out to Wingstop.
Shout out Wingstop. Just send me that sponsorship done.
Please, likewise.
Ricky. But what I'm saying is he did that. He bought this and I guess I don't know for 100% true that it's raw, but he bought a fat, I'm talking like 100 or something acres in outside of Atlanta.
Yeah.
And built everything from scratch, his own estate. Boosie did something very similar. And he built everything up from scratch on some. I'm pretty sure it was raw land, bro.
You know, it's for themselves or for the people around them, man. Because you gotta mix both, you know.
Yeah. I think they're both kind of missing both. Especially Boosie. Boosie has family staying with him and shit. But he owns all the land around it and everything. So I'm saying it's not. Successful people know about this too. This isn't some hack for poor people. Rich people been doing this. That's
seriously.
Seriously. Rich people have been doing it. That's
rich people were given this shit.
And I
did
taking it. Another episode about kind of the IULs and shit that we also got into together.
Been there.
But just how I just kind of a similar theme about how not everybody knows about that, and not everybody knows there's options out there that can essentially end your cycle of poverty.
Same, dude. I don't think our family went to college. They didn't push us to go to college. We couldn't afford college. But you know what? We educate ourselves, man. As hard as it is, man. It's hard to learn, cram information, retain it, but you got to do it, man.
You got to do it, man.
Let's build it for the next generation that's under us.
Yeah, no, exactly. It ain't always about you. And I mean, we all, who wouldn't want to, have a dope life? But I mean, I do this all the time. I don't even have kids yet. And I'm already taking steps, setting aside thousands of dollars for when I do.
That's
and just don't repeat patterns, y'all. Don't do the same shit that got your parents where they were, and their parents where they were, and your neighbors where they are. Just because that's what's around you, or that's what it has been up until this point, that doesn't mean that has to be necessarily what applies to you or your future generations. I think about this all the time. Literally me being dead, long and gone, in 3 or 4 generations, some fucking whatever Rossetti Jr. the Fourth or whatever.
Great name, by the way. Strong name.
Down the line, looking back and being damn, thanks, Granddad. You did this for us.
Let's build a legacy, man.
Yeah, build a legacy. Because not everybody did that for us. Not a lot of people can look back and say that their grandparents did something that put them in a better place. But guess what? You can do that for your future lines. And I guess that's our general message here on this episode of Dreadful Talk.
Thank you, Dom, Dreadful Talk, for having me. Thank you, people, for listening. If you consider it, if you have any questions, reach out to us on the website. It is the end of the podcast, but it's not the end of our night, my guy.
No. It's rawlanddevelopment.com. And just hit them up and you can ask questions. Like I said, even if you're out of state, I said, my guy's a good guy. He's not out here just trying to, just milk you for all your God. He's a good guy to work with, answer some questions. Like I said, good guy to have a dialogue with. And this is episode 41 of Dreadful Talk Podcast.
41.
Video will go to YouTube, Dreadful Talk Podcast. Please go subscribe. You have no idea how much that helps me. Like, share. And then if you're an audio podcast person, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your audio podcast, I take the audio and I send it over there. So this is episode 41, first in-person edition. I'm super excited, and hopefully, you learned a thing or two. Take it easy, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night. Take care. Be safe out there.